Hey fellas, your commissioner here, coming at ya for a little week four of NFL action. Let's just start off as we always do, not always do, but usually do until they start just being real pain in the ass to talk about. Razorbacks bumbled the game away. 1 point loss, 32-31 to Memphis, at Memphis. Just not good. Just not good. Not a good program. Program's not really headed in the right direction, in my opinion. We know it. We all know it. Blaine obviously went on the tirade on Twitter over the weekend, trying everything in his power to try to get rid of old Yurchek, get rid of Sam, get rid of T-Will, just clean house. Just clean house. I mean, we've got we're like 17-40, 17-50, something like that, in one-score games over the last like 8 years. Just penalties, misplays. I mean, think about how different the outlook would be for Razorback football if our record in those one-score games was flipped on its head. Imagine how good we would be. Hey, there's Loki. How good we would be if we were 40-17 instead of 17-40, right? We would be a perennial playoff contender with the format the way it is now, honestly. But we're not. We always find new and inventive ways. We're kind of getting old of finding inventive ways to lose. Now we're just kind of doing the same old bullshit where, we get our offense shut down in the second half, which has been a problem for the last couple of seasons. Our defense gets figured out in the second half, and we give up a bunch more points. And we cause one stupid turnover or stupid penalty, and it costs us the game. And I'm about sick and tired of it. I know everybody's sick and tired of it. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Talon, I'm tired of hearing about Talon and how good he is, because this guy, all he does every single game is literally every single game, almost every single game of his career. Good opponent, bad opponent, doesn't matter. Will literally at least once a game, just throw it directly to the opposing team. Not even close. Just directly to an opponent. Does he need glasses? Does he need LASIK? I don't know. Tremendous athlete, honestly. One of the most talented, gifted, from a physical tool standpoint of a quarterback that we've had maybe ever at Arkansas. Credit where credit's due there. Dude is awesome. And if he could figure out how to stop throwing picks, he would be an actual Heisman contender and be maybe even a first-round pick. But that's what separates good from great. He's not a great quarterback. He's a good quarterback, and could be worse. Could be Austin Allen, but it's just not good, guys. It's just not. Basketball is right around the corner. Thank goodness. Hopefully Cal can save us, lead us to the promised land. I'll be stunned if we're not at least in the Final Four. I almost said national champion. Almost said playing for a national championship. I'll temper expectations. Final Four. I'll be stunned if we don't make a Final Four within the next 2-3 years. Honestly, I think it'll be disappointment if we don't. And it'll be #FireCal. So. Anyways, let's go ahead here and get into a recap of last week's games. Ugly games. Ugly scores last week. We'll start off with our game of the week between our Uncrustables game of the week between We Leadville and Flo's Fury NTC. Snoozer of a game, really. Rip's legit. Rip's the real deal. 147-101. And honestly, Wilson is quite lucky to not be the dog shit team of the week, and quite lucky to have broken 100 points, because were it not for garbage time from Lamar Jackson after Detroit went up 2 scores and took their foot off the gas in the last minute and a half of the game, Wilson would have had a very, very, very bad week. Very bad week. Saquon, Houdiniac, each of the he's gone from 20 to 18 to 11. The Rams, I guess, finally figured out how to stop Saquon. Seemed like they put all their energy and effort into stopping Saquon. The Eagles thought that they could just keep running all over the Rams like Saquon's done the last 2 times they played. And they didn't realize that maybe passing would be an option. And then they did, and then they ended up coming back and winning. But, Chubb, nothing burger. Mike Evans is now hurt. Zay Flowers finally showed who he truly is. Cooper Kupp showed who he truly is at this stage of his career. For all the shit I talked to Neo Maynard, hey, credit where credit's due, 4 for 38 and a tutty. Take away a touchdown, not great, but Laporta just continues. I mean, the rookie season just looks like it was maybe he was just a one-hit wonder, old Sam. Maybe he just liked playing for me. He doesn't like playing for Wilson. Maybe there's a little bit of that going on. I don't know. But it just not great. Wilson's now at 1-2. Listen, Wilson's still okay. He's still got quite a bit of points for 377, which puts him as the 4th highest scoring team, I believe, in the league. 4th or 5th, somewhere around there. I think 5th. So solid, 420 points against. Hey, you gotta like that. You don't like the total, but you gotta like the total a little bit, right? Most points against in the league. Has had some bad luck, right? This is a guy who, if he had, Leadville's schedule, who has the least amount of points scored in the league, could just as easily be 3-0. He could. He's not, and he doesn't. So, Wilson's now sitting at 1-2. For Rip, I mean, hey, man, if I'm Rip, I'm petitioning to draft in Colorado every single year. Now, he didn't win. Did he win when he was last drafted in Colorado? No, he didn't win. Because we've had the same 2 champions for the last 6 years, because isn't that so fun? So great for the league. And we were in Colorado more recently than that. But Josh Allen underperforms for 30 points. You know what I mean? Really still a solid game. Bounced back from his 17-point outing last week. Chuba, a little banged up, but, I think he's still going to be okay. Javonte continues to look really solid, reliable RB2. Amon-Ra's, A.J. Brown finally looks like he maybe is going to get going. His best game of the season by far. DK just keeps catching a touchdown every single week. You gotta wonder if that's sustainable. It isn't. Debo kind of came back down. Montgomery had a monster game. Kincaid had a monster game. Not a lot on the bench. QJ on the bench. Jordan Addison coming back from suspension this week. So Rip's got a good team now. Don't get me wrong. Rip's got a good team. Do I think that this is the team that's going to finish the season as the number 1 team and be the clear runaway favorite for the championship like our 1 seeds, most of our 1 seeds have been the past several years? I don't. Still a little skeptical about Rip's team, okay? Still a little skeptical. I think, the running backs are a little scary to me. Montgomery just could easily go for 32 as he could go for, 10 or less. Chuba is, he's good. He's a guy. Panthers, and who knows. Javonte, you just got to wonder if that's going to, I don't know. Just don't believe it. AJ's going to be up and down. DK's going to be up and down. Debo's going to be up and down. The guys on the bench don't inspire a lot of confidence for me outside of maybe QJ, who does look like he's legit. Addison looks like he's, who knows what he's going to look like. Certainly you got to worry about every single part of that Minnesota passing offense whenever J.J. McCarthy inexplicably gets inserted back into the starting lineup sooner than later, I'm sure. So, hey, Rip, enjoy it. It's 3-0 is better than 0-3, right? He started 0-3 last year, a couple years ago, can't recall. So, enjoy it, buddy. I'm happy for you. I truly am. I'm fine with you winning the league, to be honest with you. I think it'd be great. A true rags to riches. Well, you know what? I take that back. I don't think you do deserve to win. And I'll just leave it at that. And I think most people can understand why I might feel that you don't deserve to go from rags to riches. I think most people will be able to interpret that, decipher that. So anyway, Rips 3-0. Congrats. Next here, we got Keeping the Faith versus the Swamp Donkeys. I had Blaine his first loss on the year, win 126-113. Ugly game. Very low scoring. Both Blaine and I just underperformed out our ass, as most teams did this week. I mean, Wilson was projected 160. He scores 101. I was projected 170, 126. Blaine 160. He scores 113. Just a lot of good, not great performances from pretty much all of our guys. I mean, Garrett and Puka were both great for each of us. 26 points apiece. Abuka just looks so good. He just looks so good. I mean, he's slotted into that Godwin role from last year that just got him so much volume and had him be one of the top 5 wide receivers from a fantasy scoring perspective last year before, unfortunately, went going down with injury. Kraft played through the injury, didn't do much. Fannin, nothing. Kenny had 2 touchdowns on 38 yards. Is that Wandale? Robinson? Henry, obviously. So, obviously it came down to Monday night. I was in Annapolis this early first half of this week for work, as why this video is now coming out on Thursday instead of their traditional Wednesday drop. Apologize for the delay. Appreciate you guys understanding. Seems like these conferences are never during the spring or the summer when football is not going on. It's always during football season. I guess everybody wants to get married in the fall. Everybody wants to go to conference in the fall. So, it was a quick trip in and out. Didn't feel like bringing the gear and setting up and doing all that. But there certainly will be trips. I don't actually do have another trip here in about a month to Jonesboro. I will bring the full kit and record in my hotel room in Jonesboro on Wednesday. That's my guarantee to you guys. That's how much I care and love you guys. But I don't know. There's not a lot to say. I'm 2-1. I'm really not that good of a team, guys. Blaine is solid. I guess where I was going with that is to say almost trying to get pressured into going to the game. Didn't want to spend that kind of money to go to the game. Obviously, as a hot ticket, prices just kept going up. And I just couldn't handle watching Derrick Henry potentially come back and beat me live in the flesh. I couldn't do it. I know it would have been great content, great entertainment for you guys, but you might not have had a commissioner anymore. So literally, I was in a bar with a bunch of drunk Ravens fans, and as soon as Derrick Henry scored a touchdown, I just got my check and left. I'm not doing this. Yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't take the heat. So I got out of the kitchen, and I went back to my hotel room, and Derrick Henry proceeded to get literally like one more point the rest of the game. So almost threw a pick. Should have thrown a pick. Fumbled again, 3rd time, 3 games, 2nd time to cost him a game late in the game. Maybe he's getting washed. I don't know. Ladd's been pretty disappointing. Honestly, I think for a 2nd round pick, kind of very akin to Marvin Harrison. Brock still kind of coming back from the injuries, not been great. Swift, just whatever. 33 yards, just not good. JJ, whatever. Warren's good. Bucky's not been whatever. So Herbert had a bad game. Honestly, still got 23 points. That throw was sick. That touchdown throw he had to Keenan Allen was so sick. Love it. Love having him on my team. So anyway, Blaine and I think we're going to be duking it out just like last year, fighting for a playoff spot. May the best man win. Next, we got the Truck Nuts with their best game of the season, I believe, 136-110 against the Horse Ass 2025 Horse Ass. Drops Savoy down to 1-2. Ford gets his first win of the year, gets to 1-2. For Savoy, just not a lot to be excited about. Obviously, Monraw's great. Odunze's been great so far this year. Warren's kind of coming back down slowly, 17, 13, 7 the last 3 weeks. Keenan looks good. Maybe a fountain of youth. Drink the water life. But, yeah, I don't know. Savoy's team is always just so weird to me. It's like I never really like it. Like I think I've always talked about this. It's going to produce. Do I think it's going to be horse ass? Absolutely not. I think he needs to change his team name. There's just his team's not that bad. He's still got really good guys, really good players. Now, granted, injuries could always happen, and you'd hate to see that, but it could happen. I think obviously the week 2 explosion is maybe looking a little bit more like the anomaly, the exception, rather than the rule. Because he's got 2 weeks at 115 and 110, and then 1 week at 150. Curious to see if that trend continues. Maybe it's going to be an every other week thing. He's going to bounce back and forth. And for Josh, 136, pretty good. I mean, Sutton got back on track. Ricky Pearsall had a great game. McBride's really good. Jordan Mason exploded, 2 touchdowns, 26 points. Scott Scattaboo on the bench, got him 27 points. No wide receiver depth, literally no wide receiver depth at all. You can't rely on Hollywood. You can't rely on Booty. You can't rely on Jaden Higgins. He's really just living off of DJ Moore, who really is not getting a lot of volume, not getting a lot of work. But, if you can get 10 points out of your wide receiver 3 every week, I guess you'll take it. Certainly probably not the production he was expecting when he drafted him. Kamara, a little up and down. Genty still is just not good. Just not been good. He's not been good. That Raiders offense has not been good. It's not. Chip Kelly, the OC, garbage man. He's not good. He's a bad OC. There's too many of those in this league. And Jordan Love at quarterback, I mean, you're just not going to get a more unsexy fantasy quarterback than Jordan Love. So, Ford, I still don't buy it. I don't buy it. I think he's not really a playoff team. Certainly a lot of season to turn that around, but not really doing it for me so far. Next, we got the McCockners versus Major Comeback Season. Nick undeservedly gets his second win of the season, despite only scoring 114 points. Drops JD to 0-3 with JD putting up 106. Just an ugly, ugly game. And this wasn't even the lowest scoring matchup of the week either, guys. I mean, this is the second lowest scoring matchup of the week. And, CeeDee Lamb got injured, recorded a goose egg. Who knows? He could be back next week. He could be back in 6 weeks. I mean, the Cowboys are being very mysterious. Patty Mahomes is just, whatever. Pollard's been solid. Connor's now dead on IR, done for the year. Nico finally got going. That's good. Terry, he's in that same kind of boat. He's most likely not playing this week, but is he going to have surgery, be out for the year? Is he going to be back the week after? Nobody really knows at this point. Hawkinson finally got back on track. ETN, not great, 12 points. Again, kind of ticking down the last 3 weeks. left Dobbins on his bench. Dobbins has gotten a touchdown, I believe, each of his first 3 games. If I'm not mistaken, yes, he has. So I think certainly that's a trade that hopefully will do JD some good, especially with him losing Connor. He can slot Dobbins right in there and really not miss much of a beat, I think, from a production standpoint. So and he's got Godwin coming back. Certainly probably take him a few weeks to get spun up, but should be good. He didn't play Olave after last week's, not really even a dud. Not really sure. I guess I understand. Going forward, he's probably going to be in a position where he's basically determining if he's going to, he's going to have to start Olave now that CeeDee's out, obviously, right? And if Terry's out too, he's probably going to be forced to start Chris Godwin. So, he's got his work cut out for him. He does. Let's just be honest. He's got his work cut out for him. I think he still has some good players. I don't know if I've said this, but he definitely had one of the deeper teams, I thought, in the league. And it certainly is going to be able to weather the storm. Now, James Conner obviously done for the year, but CeeDee and Terry, as far as everybody knows, CeeDee will definitely be back sooner than later within the next few weeks. Terry's still a little bit unknown, a little bit of an interesting situation. But as long as Terry's not done for the year, I think he's going to be okay, relatively. Now, granted, he's still going to be competing for horse ass for sure, but maybe it's not as bad as it looks, as it seems, as it feels in the moment. But certainly, vibes are at an all-time low for the McCockners right now. I get it. Nobody ever wants to start 0-3 and have multiple stars for them be injured. So, Nick, whatever. Jonathan Taylor continues to just dominate, another 30-point game. Bo Nix continues to not be impressive, except last week against me, right? Chase Brown has just been extremely underwhelming this year. Drake, whatever, Devontae, whatever. Pickens, should be nice with CeeDee being out. Nick doesn't really know what he's doing at his tight end position. Doesn't really know what he's doing at his flex. Doesn't really have anybody on his bench who's worth a dog shit. None. I'm telling you, none. You play Nick on a bye week, or Nick gets 1 or 2 injuries, and his team is going to be in trouble. Bigger trouble than JD's team, I think, honestly. I think this 2-1 is flashing. Fraud alert. And maybe that will be a new category. Maybe that'll be a new category with the power rankings. They're going to be dropped in tandem with this video. So stay tuned for that. We'll see. I'm going to change the categories up. Try to change the categories up every time I do a new iteration. Come up with some new names. Going to be the same number of tiers. People obviously move around within the tiers. Some of the tiers will more or less be the same, just with different names, different fun little things. So try to keep things fresh, right? So, Nick's 2-1. I don't buy it. Don't buy it. Next, we got the Dirty Birds of War versus Doesn't Contribute. Craig unloads a whole can of whoop ass, hands me my first betting loss of the year. Scores 167 points. Maybe one of the first, definitely the team to beat their projection by the highest margin so far this season, and one of the few to actually overshoot their projection. Gets himself to 2-1, plunk 112 points, drops to 1-2. Obviously Jahmyr Gibbs, Jalen Hurts had his best game of the year. Kyron got going again finally. JSN has been a monster. Jake Ferguson, 13 catches for 82 yards on 14 targets, just pepper pots. Michael Pittman had another good game as well, 20 points. Kind of hiding the fact that Keon and Jameson are really kind of boomer bust guys for him. And for Plunk, just not a very good week. I mean, he picks up that he gets in on the Daniel Jones experience. Has his worst game, only 22 points in a game they win and drop 40. CMC continues to be a monster workhorse. HN, again, just extremely solid, reliable guy. Neighbors disappoints. Travis Hunter disappoints. Probably shouldn't be started ever again. Jalen Waddle, finally looks like he's maybe going to be that guy again. Honestly, might be Plunk's second best wide receiver. Jawan Johnson just continues to be extremely reliable, double digits each of his first 3 games this year. And Bill, I don't know about Bill. I don't know. 10 points is great. I mean, it's not great. Solid. Doesn't kill you at your flex. But, obviously you benched Omarion Hampton. He goes off for 27. Omarion's now the guy with Najee being hurt. No doubt about it. Going to slot him right into a starting lineup. Hard to find a better running back trio than Plunk, to be honest with you. CMC, HN, and Omarion. He's got good, stable guys as backups with McCroskey and Kareem Hunt. The wide receiver room leaves a little bit to be desired. I mean, Neighbors is fine. He'll get going, no problem. I mean, I know Dart's just going to pepper him with targets, but Diggs is not really good, not reliable. Jennings has been hurt on and off all year, all his whole career. Not really. I don't think he's really that guy. And Waddle's your wide receiver 2. You don't really have a strong wide receiver 3. And I don't think anybody wants to trade with them. So, I hate to see that. Plunk's 1 and 2. I certainly think he's going to find a way. He's going to make a deal with somebody. Everybody knows this. No matter what people say, people put on a front. We're going to get late in the season. Somebody's going to get desperate. He's going to make the right pitch to the right guy at the right time. It's what he's done year in, year out for 6 years. And he's going to get himself in the mix. And I'll be very surprised if doesn't find himself in the playoffs. And for Craig, 2-1, Mr. Jeff Fisher, I'll believe it. I'll believe he's a good team by the end of the season when he's more than several games above 500. So otherwise, you're still Jeff Fisher to me. And then that brings us to our dog shit. Just sad. I'm not going to use a whole bunch of superlatives and adjectives for Hawk. It's just sad. It's just sad dad, energy team of the week. Died on Burrow time. 92 points. Not only team to not break 100 points this week. His opponent, not much better. 101 points. Duncan, you talk about fraud. Let me show you the Kickers Lives Matter. Frauds. All right? 3-0. He's only scores 101 points this week. He is 7th, I think, in points for in the league. And he's got the second lowest amount of points against. So, again, that's fantasy, guys, right? If you're undefeated early on in the season, more likely than not, you got lucky against who you played and nobody scored points against you. So, but Duncan's team is not a 3-0 team. I mean, Jamar Chase is struggling. That whole offense is struggling. Browning, obviously, the magic that he had a couple years ago is worn off. Jacoby Myers, not good. Brian Thomas has the yips, been terrible. Kelsey's washed. Ramondre, washed. James Cook's good. Josh Jacobs is solid. Baker's really good. Obviously Quinshawn's gonna be cemented, I gotta think. And Duncan's starting lineup. And again, that's a trio that can rival Plunk, in my opinion. I mean, James Cook, Josh Jacobs, and Judkins could be very, very salty. I mean, Green Bay has stifled the running backs of the opposing team the first 2 weeks, and then Judkins, goes for 94 and a tud and gets 18.5 points. But then he left Andrews on the bench, 28 points. Andrews won't touch that point total the rest of the year. That's a fact. That's a guarantee, I promise you. But you look at the rest of his bench, 1.5, 2.6, 0, 0, and not good, right? That's not good. So, again, Duncan's kind of in that same boat as Nick. Injury or bye weeks are going to be real. I think Duncan's going to get exposed, and that's something we've been talking about all year, right? So, and for Hawk, Bryce Young, it's not what you want to do at quarterback. Hawk, take that homer out of you. It's just not what you want to do. It's not. I know he had that 30-point game against the Cardinals. That was garbage time, trying to come back. Any game that's somewhat competitive at all, or where their defense is playing really well, it's just not going to be good for old Bryce. Bijan, excuse me, great. Tracy hurt. Even when he comes back, he's done. He's cooked. It's kind of sad and kind of funny too that this is like the exact opposite scenario of what he was in last year, where Singletary was the guy. Tracy was barely getting any work. Singletary gets hurt and opens the door for Tracy, and Tracy has the job for the rest of the year. Now, Tracy was playing, Scatabo not sprinkled in there. Now, Tracy's hurt, and Scatabo is going to take that job and not give it back. So, but Tyreek Hill's looked good the last couple weeks. Tet kind of came back down. Wandale obviously came crashing back down, only one catch. Strange has been okay. And Josh Downs is just not kind of the one who's gotten left out. So Daniel Jones seems to only like Michael Pittman. And Tyler Warren. So, and the bench, not a lot of options to turn to. Yeah. But Benson, one man's trash is another man's treasure. One man's just misfortune is another man's gain, right? So, Hawks 0-3. Don't know the brighter days are ahead for Hawk. So, okay, let's go ahead here, break down the waiver wire run for this week. 9 claims, and these runs just keep getting worse and worse. They just keep getting uglier and uglier. And I understand we're at a point where some teams they have to do this. It's desperate times. And they got to go try to chase, 1 week pop-offs, hoping that it's a trend and not the most likely fluke that it is. Big bell of the ball this week was Trey Tucker, obviously coming off of his 43-point performance. Just insane, 3 touchdowns. Hawk snags him for 50 fab. Big spender, Hawk. 50 fab. He's been swinging and missing on a lot of guys the last few weeks. He finally gets his guy here. JD was in for 36, Ford in for 28, Will's in for 26. All a bunch of guys that I would not want to be associated with fighting for the same guys, to be quite personally. Picks up Jackson Dart for 30 fab. Nick was in for 11. Savoy was in for 3. I pick up Hunter Henry for 5. Rip was in for 21. Wheels in for 16. Hawk in for 15. JD in for 3. So again, I don't want to be associated with those guys. Didn't really want Hunter Henry. Hopefully don't really need Hunter Henry. But I mean, just looking at the run, I mean, he's like the only guy that could maybe someone rely on. I'm going to need a backup tight end eventually. They don't have the same buys, so why not? Wilson picks up Miles Sanders for 22. Nobody else in on him. Wheels gets Shepard for 17. Dunk was in for 11. Craig picks up Parker Washington for 16. Gino goes to Savoy for 7. His new quarterback on his carousel. JD picks up Kavontae Turpin for 5. Sneaky little pickup there. Drops Dallas Goedert. JD also picked up Devin Singletary for 4, dropping Jerome Ford. And then I picked up Chris Rodriguez for 10 this morning. Nobody else was in on him. I meant to drop it down to like 5. Just forgot. So I think originally I had it at 15, dropped it to 10. Just wasn't thinking. Okay, so let's go ahead here and get into a preview of this week's matchups. The game of the week shall be... we'll do... Actually, I haven't looked at this. I thought I did. We'll do that one. Okay. First, we'll start with Keeping the Faith versus Died on Burrow Time. I'm projected to win 156 to 135. Go ahead, take the under for both of these teams. go ahead and take Hawk plus 21, and they'll hit, and the total under, and they'll all hit, and you'll make you can only bet. Look up the rules. I'm not going to get into that, right? I'm running long on time already. We had the debate about the fab betting rules. Things to be looked at from both sides. Hand up, I fully admit it. Plunk was just trying to get it to be discussed in the offseason. I'm just so used to people wanting things changed immediately like that when they don't like something. And so obviously I was very pushing back and being a little bit of an asshole, as I'm one to do. So I apologize for that. I could have handled it a different way, a better way. So I still am not necessarily on board with the rules changing, but certainly could have handled the discussion in a better manner. So, and Plunk owns up to it too. So I think he understands the position that I'm in. I understand the position that he's in. And we'll just leave it at that. Rules are what they are for the rest of the year. It's a lot of work for Duncan. Duncan fully reinstated in case you missed it. I know we get a lot of messages rolling around. It's easy to miss things. Duncan is a fully reinstated, full-fledged council member, no longer conditional. So let's give a hand to Duncan, please. Give a hand to Duncan. Thank you. Anyways, I know that one of these 0-3 teams are going to win. There's no way we have 2 0-4 teams going into week 5. I just know it. And I know if it's going to happen to anybody, it's going to happen to your old Kamesh. Right? Hawk, pull off the upset. I'm going to barely break 100 points this week. Hawk's going to find a way to get to, 120, not even a great week, 120, 125. He's got Trey Benson, descended from the heavens to help save his team from being just truly dog shit, abysmal trash. James Conner's injury allows Benson to ascend to that role, and probably will have 25 points tonight on Thursday night. I wouldn't be surprised at all. While Marvin gets 5 to 6, wouldn't be surprised at all. So, Tet's dinged up, limited after not practicing on Wednesday. Probably much ado about nothing there. And just my history with my former guys against me, it's just the writing's on the wall. I mean, got Wandale going against me. I got Tyreek going against me, 2 of my former guys. And what do my former guys love doing against me? They love going off. And Tyreek's probably going to get 30 points against the Jets. And Wandale's probably going to get 30 points against the Chargers. And that's all she wrote. So, yeah, I don't know. Next here, we got Flo's Fury versus the McCockners. JD is projected to win, actually, 145 to 138. His team, despite all of his injuries, I'm telling you guys, it really does not look bad on paper. It honestly is still a really solid team. And you look, conversely, you look at Wilson's, and he's got guys in there like Tyquan Thornton, Zay Flowers, or I'm sorry, he's good. Alec Elamainer, a washed-up Nick Chubb. And, you know what? We're not going to have either. Both the 0-3 teams are going to win. JD's going to win this one. Why not? Let's do it. Let's get nuts. Next, we got Leadville versus the Dirty Birds. Rip is projected to just get dog walked by Connor, 164 to 143. I think Rip plus 21 is also a great bet. And Plunk's under 164. Great bet. Don't see either of those hitting. Questionable for Neighbors, questionable for Jennings, questionable for Waddle. So do be careful there that the bet could be voided due to injury, especially since Jawan has missed his second straight practice. Waddle's limited. Neighbors is limited. Both should be fine and be playing, I'd imagine. You better hope so, because he doesn't want Hunter to be in his lineup. So, and for Rip, tough matchups for Rip this week. I do think, despite me talking shit on Connor's team, I think this is a good one. Both of these teams are going to be under their projections. But I do find a way. I do think Plunk finds a way to get to back to 500, gets to 2-2, drops Rip to 3-1. Next, we got Truck Nuts versus Major Comeback Season. Ford is projected to win 152 to 131. I think Nick's a fraud. I think his team's lucky to be 2-1. I don't think the Ford's team's even all that great. We're going to go with Ford in that one. And penultimate matchup, Doesn't Contribute versus 2025 Horse Ass. Jeff is projected to win 155 to 142. Yeah, it's always seems to inspire a lot of confidence. We'll go with Jeff in that one. We'll go with Jeff. Craig's got the second most points scored in the league. I mean, granted that's really inflated off of 1 week, but I certainly think that maybe he's really upset. Well, not upset, but he's really motivated to try to break that Jeff Fisher narrative. And maybe this will be the year that he does it. I can't wait to see and find out. And then that brings us to our game of the week. Our Planters. Come on. The lighting in here is just not great. Planters Deluxe Lightly Salted Whole Cashews game of the week. 50% less sodium than Planters Deluxe Whole Cashews. Guys, we're getting older. We need to be taking care of our bodies a little bit better, taking care of our heart health, all that stuff, cutting back on salt, cutting back on the sugars. I'm certainly not immune to that. I'm certainly trying my best to expand my food palette, try more things, better things, healthier things. It's got 5 grams of protein per serving, which is a plant-based protein. Gotta love that for the vegans out there. God bless them. Nuts of distinction since 1906. Planters has been doing this a long time, right? They're one of the best in the biz. They're well known. They're a family brand. They're a classic brand. They're creamy yet memorably crunchy. I don't understand the creaminess. I don't understand when flavors are described as creamy. I think it's just because I have the palate of a 6-year-old. That's just not a. I don't understand how nuts can be creamy. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. So what's up? What are you doing? Is that what you wore today?
Yeah, it looks right, doesn't it?
Yeah, looks like you're going to church.
What?
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. You can look nice going to church. I mean,
I know, but this is like a cute casual work outfit.
Yeah.
It's a skirt, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah, give him the twirl. Look at the tassels spin. Yeah. Go.
Here, I need to stand on the couch so they can see the whole outfit.
Yeah. Okay, Shakira.
David,
Yeah,
you gotta play the song. You gotta edit this video.
I'm not going to edit. I don't do editing anymore. It takes too much time.
Just add that song. It'll take a minute.
I don't think you realize that. And plus, if I do that, I'm going to get copyrighted and my account's going to get shut down and the audio will get stripped from my video.
Oh my god.
That's how YouTube works. They don't play with that.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy. Anyway, Planters, the official cashew of the Bring That Wood Fantasy Football League. It's almost gone. Look at that. Barely any left. Cheers. Yeah. I love cashews. I've eaten this whole thing basically myself. 2 of them within the last month. Trying to get my nuts, get my nuts right. You know what I mean? Anyway, Swamp Donkeys, Kickers Live Matter. Second time in the game of the week for Duncan. 4 weeks in. He is projected to win 156 to 152. I think this is all the makings of being a great matchup. Great matchup here. Battles at quarterback, you got Drake May versus Baker Mayfield. I don't believe in Drake May. Everybody knows I don't believe in Drake May. Baker's my guy. We're going to ride with Baker in that one. Battle of the running backs, you got King Henry and K9 Walker versus Josh Jacobs and James Cook. Boom. Again, Jacobs and Cook all day, twice on Sunday. Battle of the wide receiver, you got Puka, Ladd, and Ibuka. I like that. Puka, Nakua, Emeka, Ibuka. And then you got Ladd McConkey. You got 2 very nice cultural names, and then I guess. Oh my God! I almost forgot. We've got an international game this week, guys. Over in Dublin. Hey, let me try to find it. The Dublin. Shit. I've been thinking about this all week too. I felt like I was gonna be able to do a good job with the Irish accents. No, that's not it. What are some Irish names? Scottish, they're going over to the Scottish Isles into Ireland, and those are two very different things. And now this is just my shitty British accent, like I'm a... Okay, guys, I can't do it. I apologize. You think with the rosy cheeks, with the freckles, I'd be able to nail the Irish accent. I can't, but I kind of tried, so there you go. How could I do an Irish accent? I really need to hire a voice coach for this. We're getting so many international games now, and I missed Brazil earlier in the year to help me out with this. I really think it's worth the investment. That it would probably maybe a few $1,000. Get a dialect coach and have this thing humming. Wouldn't that be something? Probably not gonna do it, but wouldn't that be cool? Blaine's wide receivers. Jamar, Brian Thomas, Jacoby. We'll go with Blaine in that one. Tight ends, you got Kelsey versus Tucker Kraft. And then battle the flex, Judkins and Xavier Worthy. Give me Judkins. I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think that Blaine really needs to win the edge at running back to have a chance. Can he do it? I'm not convinced. But I'm still going to go with Blaine anyway. Give me the Swamp Donkeys. All right, fellas. That's all I got this week. Hawgs are playing Notre Dame at home. Line is very, very ratty. 3.5. Last I checked, opened at like 9.5, 7, something like that. And now it's been bet all the way down. I know Notre Dame's not good, but I think what people are overlooking is that we're not good either. I honestly, at this point, I hope we don't win. Honestly, I just keep losing. Get Sam out of here, and let's just start over. Who are we going to get? Who are we going to hire? All the higher talking heads, as Chuck and Bo like to, call us fans, irresponsible and unrealistic, and instead of wanting and hoping and holding accountability and hoping for better and hoping for more, from the university and from the leadership. No, it's the fans' fault. It's our fault, right? Yeah. That's going to really motivate us to want to continue to donate, continue to go to games, continue to support the program, right? By saying that we're the losers and we're the ones who suck and have the problem. It's not us. It's them, right? Whatever. Good luck this week, fellas. Stay safe out there, and as always, woo pig.